Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the virtual Lewisboro Community Volunteer Fair. I'm Liz Gabriel, representing the Lewisboro Library. As I said, we have 14 groups with us here today. Each representative will speak for about 5 minutes about their organization and their current volunteer opportunities. We will be doing a Q&A session after the presentation, so people can either unmute during the Q&A to ask questions or type your questions into the chat, and then at the end, the representatives will answer the questions. If anyone has to leave early today, we will be posting a recording of this on our YouTube channel. Our first speaker up today is Kathleen Burleson from the Katonah-Lewisboro Girl Scouts.
Good morning, everyone. And Liz, thank you for inviting me again this year. And I'm glad to see familiar faces from last year. Just 30 seconds about me. I've been a volunteer and member of the Girl Scouts for over 30 years in Katonah-Lewisboro. I'm a 40-year membership of Girl Scouts USA. So in Lewisboro, we have a slightly expanding community. During the pandemic, we saw a little bit of a drop, which many groups did. But last year, and I think in part was because of the library fair, volunteer fair, we had 5 new Daisy Girl Scout troops start this year. And we have overall 82 new girls join our community, including 11 new adults. So that's the reason why I'm here today, to talk about Girl Scouts in the community. We're a 100% volunteer organization in the community. Everyone gives of themselves and helps others. And we think that it's a very strong part of young girls' and women's lives to be active in something that is sharing and volunteering and giving service while they still have fun and learning. And that's Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts tries to build strong young girls and women, have them develop into leadership roles. I know I saw it with my own 2 daughters who've become very strong adults. And I don't know that they would have been without the leadership that you learn in Girl Scouts. And it starts with, yes, we sell cookies, but selling cookies isn't really about the money. It's about teaching girls to reach out and be comfortable and do a service. And part of selling cookies is we do donation to soldiers with cookies. And we have a lot of resources available online with the pandemic. There are some changes. We can no longer meet in people's houses or in private property. We have to meet currently in public places. And while it's a challenge, people have managed to work it out. Some troops do it on Zoom only, and some have in-person meeting, and some have a combination of trips and Zoom meetings. So it is an exciting program. Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson is our parent organization, and they provide all the training. They provide online training for everyone. They have some in-person programs, but right now all the training is online. You get a lot of support in our community. I reach out to all of our members, which we have about 120 members in our community of adults and other parent volunteers. We do have one gentleman who's a leader, an assistant leader, and also he's a treasurer of a troop. And it's a pretty exciting program for girls. And I hope people will consider it. And I can say as a parent, I started volunteering as a parent and took over a troop when my children were very young. And I have stayed with it. They are 35 years old right now and 30, my children, but I've stayed with Girl Scouts because I really think it's a valuable organization and I get a lot of benefit out of it. And that's all I have, Liz. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Next up, we have Ellen Mitchell from Guiding Eyes for the Blind.
Good morning. So I am Ellen Mitchell. I'm manager of volunteer services with Guiding Eyes for the Blind. And I've been with Guiding Eyes for over 15 years. The first 9 years was as a volunteer. And then I came on staff. So Guiding Eyes has a facility in Paterson, New York. That's our breeding center where we have over 500 puppies born each year under normal times. Our training school is in Yorktown, where our dogs receive formal guide dog training. It also houses our administration. And when people apply for a guide dog, They come into our campus, they're matched with a guide dog, and that's where they begin their training with their guide dog. We also have our new outreach center in Yorktown. We're excited to look forward to hosting different events, programs, and informational sessions at the facility beginning this spring. We also have a gift shop in there. So Guiding Eyes provides exceptional guide dogs for people with vision loss. And we are currently looking for puppy raisers. So if you volunteer to become a puppy raiser, what happens is you would be taking 3 pre-placement classes, which lets you know what it's like to be a raiser and what it entails, and gives you the option of whether you feel this is a good fit or not. After the 3 pre-placement classes, when you decide to volunteer with us, you take home an 8-week-old puppy. We have 92% of our dogs are Labrador retrievers. So we have yellow labs, black labs. We now have black and tan, not on purpose. They just came out that way. And 8% of our dogs are German Shepherds. So as a puppy raiser, you start training your little puppy. Once you get them, you'd be attending classes with Guiding Eyes in your region. And as the puppy turns 4 months old, they earn a jacket. They go everywhere with you so they can learn public manners. They can learn how to behave and sit at your side when they're meeting somebody instead of lunging forward and jumping up. They go out to lunch, they go out to dinner with their raisers. Some of the classes that raisers will attend may be on a train ride. They might be at an airport or a museum down in New York City. And this gives the puppy the ability to learn what it's like to walk on different underfootings, and how to behave in public. So at 16 months old, that puppy leaves their raiser and comes into our Yorktown facility for formal guide dog training. Some of those puppies we're watching because of their genetics. They become breeders for us. And go into local homes as a foster dog where you love that dog as your own, walk 3 miles a day, vet bills are covered, and you pay for food. And then when your pup has puppies, you become, you have grandpuppies. So that's our greatest need right now, is for puppy raisers in our communities. We also are looking for brood stud fosters. So once the puppy is raised and comes into us, we do extensive medical and temperament training on the dogs. We look for foster homes in the area that will be able to bring the dogs in for their checkups. You love the dog as your own, and the dog stays with you until such time that the dog is released from the program. At that point, we decide if you're available and you have the option to adopt, or if you're not going to keep the dog, then the dog goes up for adoption. So our campus volunteer opportunities include kennel volunteers, puppy kennel volunteers, home socialization volunteers, administration volunteers, pup test videographers, and drivers. We have even more than we can list in volunteer opportunities. The criteria is that we ask that everyone is fully vaccinated to be eligible to volunteer on campus. And you also need to be 18 years of age or older. If you're looking to do something with your children, there is a program called Home Socialization. That's where you'll go through an orientation, but you get to take 2 puppies home from the same litter. We provide all of the equipment, the food, and the information that you'll need. And it introduces puppies to sounds in your home. So they're going to learn about hearing the dishwasher, the vacuum cleaner, children playing, children crying, all kinds of sounds that they don't typically hear in the kennel. Before they then go out at 8 weeks old, and they'll go out to a puppy raiser, but they get all of this information prior to leaving us and going out to their raisers. So if you have any questions, you can go to guidingeyes.org, click on volunteer, and all of the information is there. You can call me at 845-230-6412. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. I know as I told you, I have a neighbor who's fostering a dog right now, and she raves about the program.
Oh, thank you.
Next
We
we'll
just
hear.
love her.
Yeah. Next, we'll hear from Deb Castle, who's representing RideConnect.
Thank you, Liz. Hi, everybody. Unfortunately, I have to apologize in advance. I have to run off after my presentation. I have a funeral today, so I do apologize for that. I won't be here for the question and answer at the end, but I will leave my contact information in the chat, and please reach out. So here representing RideConnect of Westchester, we are a program of Family Services of Westchester. Family Services has programs that range from adoption services and services for veterans to services for seniors. And one of the services for seniors is this ride and referral program called RideConnect. Probably the thing we're most known for is our matching volunteers with older adults that need a ride somewhere. And I know in this town, above all other towns, we have Pam, who takes a lot of the seniors to where they need to go in town, but she's only one person. So we like to be able to, have our volunteers drive seniors anywhere they need to go, whether it's a medical appointment, hair salon, shopping, church, temple. And I think one of the best things about the program is that it's very flexible. And you can actually go on our program online and look at what needs there are for the coming week, and just go ahead and click on that ride and assign yourself. So, you can really kind of look at your own schedule, and the staff will call you if you want them to. In fact, that's how I get the rides that I do. They'll call me and say, Deb, we really need help this week, and can you do this particular ride? They'll see someone who lives kind of in this area. But you can click on it yourself to do the ride. We do cover all of Westchester. So sometimes I've been assigned or asked, I should say not assigned, but I've been asked to drive someone who maybe lives in Pound Ridge to go to their medical appointment at Chappaqua Crossing. But I also could do a very local trip as well. So very flexible, very much on your own schedule. And really for do rides for really any reason. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything, but I do also want you guys to know that this isn't really for a volunteer, but just so that we also have a free dialysis and chemo bus. So if people need that kind of treatment, you can please let them know that RideConnect has that available, and that we can do, include them in our route to take people to dialysis and chemo. So it's just kind of a good thing to know. We started out doing volunteer rides to dialysis treatments, but as you know, there's like a long span of time in between when you get there and when you leave. So it was kind of hard to get enough volunteers. So we do have this bus that we hope that you'll let people know about. And then we also have a great resource center. So you call our office and ask about almost anything that seniors want to know about. And our office staff has a great resource list that can help people with almost anything. So I think that's all from me now. I will, rather than take up time for questions now, I know that we want to move on to other presenters. I'll leave you my information in the chat, and please reach out to me. It's a great organization to volunteer for. I always let people know that you can volunteer once a week or once every 2 months. So it's really no pressure to say, oh, I have to do this every Thursday or something like that. So it's a really great place to volunteer. You do have to be 21 and over, though. I will say that. I know there's some teens on here. So, but thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Liz. And I'll leave my information in the chat.
Great. Thanks a lot, Deb. Our next speaker, Arlene Penn, will talk about volunteering with TRA, which is formerly known as West Fair Rides.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here today, and we're excited to be here to tell you about our new name. Yes, we were formerly West Fair Rides and now called TRA. What does TRA stand for? It stands for Transportation Resource Access. So basically, we just recently under West Fair Rides have celebrated our 10th year anniversary. Which is a huge success. We've been going very strong, and we're just continuing to expand and grow at a rate that's hard to keep up with, but we're managing to do it. So basically we celebrated our 10th year anniversary, and right after that, we basically changed our name to TRA. Why did we change our name to TRA? We're still providing the same access to medical transportation. We're still doing the same thing. We're serving 60 and older. We're serving 21 and older adults with low vision. And we help to live for people to live independently in their homes. We provide a free, safe, and reliable way to get there to their medical appointments. And we have a quality service that we offer to the communities we serve. So why did we change though? Besides helping with all of that, West Fair Rides, the name West Fair Rides came from Westchester and Fairfield counties. So therefore it was kind of limited. So we served Westchester, the borderline of Fairfield County. Now we are expanding into Putnam County and Rockland County. We also have expanded our call center. Our call center is able to help with even more resources now than just transportation. We can refer you to the right programs and services for older adults and adults with disabilities. So we're very excited about this. This is something new for us. We have a huge VisionLink database that we work with, and we're able to help get you the information you need to get the help you need. You can visit our TRA resource hub online. And the information, referral services, and follow-up that we provide, it basically ensures people that you're receiving the help you desire and the help that you need. And we're really excited to be a part of this now. So we're really enjoying this growth and expansion. We are seeking volunteers. My title is the Director of Volunteers, and we are always seeking volunteers. How can we service transportation to those in need? We never have enough transportation. Volunteers is one of the ways that we try to help get the people to their appointments. And it's a very important, responsible position, but it's also a very flexible, easy position to do something that's does not take a lot of time, does not take a lot of effort. We do put you through an extensive process to become a volunteer, but once you're in, it's very simple. You go to our database and you sign up for rides. So basically the process would be is you would call me, and we would speak with you, do an interview with you, find out if you're a good fit for our company. And then we would direct you to our online application process. Once we receive your application, we do your references. We need 2 good references. You'll need a good driving record. You have to be over the age of 21. We do require the COVID, all of the COVID shots, including the booster. And we would also need a copy of your insurance declaration pages. Now, your insurance would be the primary insurance, and it's your vehicle. However, we do have the additional 1.5 million insurance to help cover any costs. God forbid anything should happen, and nothing has in over 65 years, and we like to keep it that way. So we do a background check as well, and none of this is any cost to you. The background check is not a credit check, and it does not affect your credit history. It's a criminal history check and a motor vehicle background check. This is very important because we care, safety is number 1 for us. We care about your safety and the safety of our organization and everyone there. So safety is number 1. We go through an extensive orientation. We give you a nice packet we hand out to you, which is wonderful, very professional. And we go over a safety orientation at that time, and we repeat that at least once a year. You can attend a new safety orientation. So that's the boring details of all of it. We are all mobility managers, which means that we work from our homes all of the staff. So we have staff in different locations throughout Westchester, Connecticut, Putnam County. We're spread out. The staff, we work very well together, and so you will most likely anytime you call Monday through Friday, you will get the help you need no matter what. We're there to serve you, and we all help each other to make sure that you get what you need. People love to volunteer with us because one, we have a very well quality service for our volunteers, as well as for our safety and service. We're very professional about it, very detailed. We're very detailed about it, but it's a wonderful family. We call it a family of volunteers, and I call it the preferred volunteer experience. And the reason I call it the preferred volunteer experience is because people love what they do once they come in and they do it. And they love what we do with the volunteers. We create community, we create connections. We have events that you can attend. So there's quite a bit of different things that we do for our volunteers. We love our volunteers. We highly regard them in every aspect of respect and community and care, and we love our volunteers. So if you're interested, I'm going to put the information in the chat section. You could contact me. I'd be happy to hear from you. You can also call our office for any of the services, even if you want to volunteer, if you don't get my number directly. And that's it. I think that's all I have to say. It's just we welcome you. We are happy to serve our community for those that are on that need our service. And we're happy to have volunteers join us if you're interested. Okay. So thank you for listening. TRA is the new name. Please visit our website. It's really wonderful. Like us on Facebook. Whatever you can do to support us, we really appreciate it because we're offering a great service to our community. Thank you. And I'll send that into the chat. The new we have new information, a new email address, website address, and all. And I'll put that in the chat for everyone. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much, Arlene.
Thank you.
Keeping with the theme of serving our senior community, our next speaker is Pam Veith, who's here to talk about Lewisboro seniors and Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see everybody again. I see some familiar faces. So just very briefly, I work for the Park and Recreation Department for the town of Lewisboro and senior programs. I've been the director of the senior group that meets once a week at the South Salem Firehouse since 2009, and I started full-time with Park and Recreation as a senior coordinator in 2013, so almost 10 years. Some of our volunteer programs are relatively new, and one that started last year is called the Snow Angel program. And actually some people even on this call have been beneficiaries of that program. I think Dana and I were looking through what other towns have done for their seniors, and this was, of course, at the beginning of the pandemic. We were like, this would be great. You're outside, you don't necessarily have contact with the senior. So we have done it for the second year this year. And as a volunteer, you are assigned. What I do is I reach out to seniors to say, we put it on our website. This is an opportunity for someone to come to maybe shovel your walkway, shovel around your mailbox, not your whole driveway. If you have salt to sand as a senior, you would provide that for the volunteer. And the nice thing is that you can, a young person, whoever, a parent has to sign the volunteer release form, but the child who's 12, 13, 10, 17 is able to be involved and show. So what I do is the volunteer and the senior, I try to match them as close I can to as where they live, whether on the same sort of community in South Salem, or someone who lives in Goldensbridge, a volunteer who lives in Goldensbridge or Katonah border. I try to match them up so you're not traveling too far, sometimes within walking distance, or sometimes you might have to hop in your car. But that's been wonderful with the ice and the snow. So as I say, last year was the first year, and we did it again this year. We have maybe about a dozen or so seniors who are benefiting from this, and then same with the volunteers. I have not done it, but I sort of feel like this could be something that could carry on to the spring if there were people interested in maybe doing a little spring cleanup in someone's property. That's also an idea. So I'm thinking about that. And from the Snow Angel program, I've had some people say, oh, I don't really need someone to shovel my walk, but I could use someone to help me do a few little chores. During this pandemic time, it's a little bit, if someone needs a light bulb change, I mean, just think of all these little minor things that, if you're not able to get on a step ladder, little things that might be helpful for someone. I haven't really gotten into doing some kind of volunteer program like that because it might involve going inside someone's home. But maybe at some point when we all feel more comfortable, that's also something we could look into. As I said, I run this weekly senior meeting, and I have a wonderful story of about, I don't know, it's probably been about 7 years now. I had a volunteer come to one of the volunteer fairs and said, is there anybody that could use help reading their mail? Someone who's had, their vision's poor and they have no family to help them. So I have a senior and a woman who's a volunteer who've become very close through that. She started going to her house and helping her went through her mail just to read medical things or whatever she was getting. So that hasn't happened too often, but that's also a possibility. So that is so I work for the town of Lewisboro, so I help residents of Lewisboro. So if someone does not live in Lewisboro as a senior, I'm not able to provide these services for them. But as a volunteer, if you lived in a different town and you wanted to help in some way with a Lewisboro senior, that would be fine. And as was mentioned, just so people are aware, this isn't volunteer, but in my position as senior coordinator, I do help seniors in the community. If you're not aware, if you're a Lewisboro resident, I take people to doctor's appointments. I sometimes, if it's someone who needs someone to go in and as an advocate, I will go into an appointment with someone if they'd like, if they're comfortable or if they're not comfortable. So that's a wonderful service. That's obviously not volunteer, but so that's just important for people to know. If you're a Lewisboro resident, I think a lot of people aren't aware of that service. And the other thing that I was just going to speak about is Meals on Wheels, and that's coordinated through a Somers nutrition program, which is over at Van Tassel House, and they provide meals for residents of Somers, Lewisboro, and North Salem. So we have volunteers that deliver the meals. During the pandemic, that was a little different. I was the only one delivering the meals at the beginning, but then as things loosened up, they have allowed people to volunteers to deliver again. At the beginning, we were only just leaving it in a bag by their doorknob, but now we're sort of back to the usual handing it to them or placing it on their kitchen table. At this time, I think if you choose to, when I'm walking into someone's house, I do wear my mask. We're not requiring that we see that you're vaccinated. So that is not a requirement to be the Meals on Wheels volunteer. And it's about once a month. There's probably right now maybe about 10 or so volunteers. So every one of the volunteers coordinates the schedule. That's Mary Jane Hammerin. She's wonderful. She lives in Vista, and every month we'll just reach out to all of us. I deliver maybe once or twice a month. Now that there's more, the volunteers are involved, they can deliver once, maybe twice a month. So that's also very nice, and that's very flexible. And it's a wonderful way to connect to seniors. We have maybe about a dozen stops right now. There's two couples, like two people at two stops right now. So it's not a lot, but you pick up the meals in Somers at the Van Tassel House, and then you start in Golden Ridge and work your way to Vista. As you all know, Lewisboro is pretty wide, big area. So it takes about, you pick up the meal 11:15 over in Somers, you're done usually about 1:15. So it's about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. So I actually will be on for a little bit, but I do have to leave early. So I will also put my email in the chat so that if anyone wants more information about the volunteer opportunities that I've just mentioned, that I'd be happy to, talk to you more about it. But I won't be able to be here at the very end when the questions are asked. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Pam. It's always nice to hear from you and all that's going on with our seniors.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move to some outdoor volunteer opportunities. And we're starting off with Darcy from the Lewisboro Garden Club.
Hi, everyone. My name is Darcy. I'm going to talk to you about the Lewisboro Garden Club. We do consider ourselves to be Lewisboro's gardeners. This year, we are celebrating and very excited to be celebrating our 50th year. The Lewisboro Garden Club started off with a primary purpose of beautifying what we call the traffic triangles throughout our town. We have grown in membership due to the pandemic. Gardening is a great pandemic activity. So everyone should, if you like the outdoors and want to meet some of your neighbors and make some friends, it's a great organization to join. We do currently have 72 members going into 2022. And we maintain and beautify 26 gardens throughout Lewisboro. Most of them are triangles. One of my favorite triangle gardens is right there at the library. I don't know if you've all noticed or admired the beauty of the gardens around our wonderful library, but that is one of my favorite gardens that we tend. Membership does require everyone to be assigned to one of these gardens. We are also growing the number of gardens that we maintain throughout Lewisboro while we're growing in membership. It's a commitment of like 1 to 3 hours a month during the growing season. Membership is a mere $15 to join the club. And it does give you discounts at a lot of our local nurseries throughout our town and neighboring towns. We do have social events for this year, our 50th anniversary. We have a lot of new and special events coming up. We do potluck, brunch, and dinners throughout the year. We go on field trips and visit either in-town gardens from some of our neighbors that open up their gardens to us, or we actually go on field trips to other gardens throughout Westchester, Connecticut, and the Hudson Valley. That you don't have to be a member to volunteer with the Garden Club. We are starting an invasive removal program in Lewisboro, starting out right now at our Honor True Farm. And we are developing new meadows. There are 2 in development right now. One of them is at one of our largest traffic triangles on Boughton and Post Office in the South Salem Hamlet. We also are establishing 2 new gardens this year, or hope to, over in our town park. We have started a new program at the library fair for fundraising for our library with fairy gardens, which was a huge hit last year, and we hope to continue that for many years to come. We do Rooting for Lewisboro, which is giving away native seedlings. This year we gave away 1,750 seedlings. We ordered that many, and many have been claimed, and the distribution will be around Arbor Day in late April. We also have started the Champion Tree. Champion trees are some of the oldest trees in our town, and there are kits at the library that are available so that you can tell whether or not you have a champion. It requires some measurements and tree identification. And also we have Growing Kindness, which is where we donate our own flowers to one of our amazing members who puts them into vases and makes beautiful bouquets for our seniors with Pam. and we distribute them to our seniors at the senior center and some of the homebound seniors in our town as well. And finally, one of our largest volunteer efforts is our Golden Roads program. And George is here to talk more about the Golden Roads program. And anyone who wants to be outdoors and meet some of our neighbors and become friends, it's a great way to do it right here at the Lewisboro Garden Club. And we're always looking for new members. Thank you. George?
Yes, hi, I'm George Scott, also with the Lewisboro Garden Club, and I'm chair of the Golden Roads Daffodils program. For those of you who may not be familiar with it, we're in our 16th year. What we do is plant thousands of daffodils each year along the roadsides of Lewisboro. And as I said, we have 55,000 daffodils we planted so far. This year, we plant in the fall, and of course, the daffodils come up in the spring. And please, on the Lewisboro Garden Club website and also the town website, look for a driving tour. Probably it'll be out this year, probably April. We hope the daffodils will start coming out and mid-April to perhaps May. So take the driving tour. It's really great. It's all hamlets through Lewisboro. This year, we're going to be planting, we don't know the location yet. We're working on it, but it will be November 5th from 8:30 in the morning until 12 noon. The rain date is the Saturday after that, November 12th. And basically what we do in 3 hours, we have about 60 or 70 volunteers, and we plant 3,000 daffodils. It's pretty organized at this point. We have groups that will plant together with volunteers from the garden club. You don't need to know how to plant. We have experienced garden club members there that will start you off with a demo of how to put the daffodils in. We have plenty of refreshments. There's a lot of people from the community that we've had over the years. We have the Girl Scouts, one of our Girl Scout troops. This will be their 10th year coming back. They started off as little kids and now they're young ladies. It's very pleasing to see that. And they're still enthusiastic about it. And they still go by these roadsides and say, those are my daffodils. And that's the kind of spirit we want to see. We also have a lot of high school students that join us, particularly from the environmental science group. We have a lot of residents that we see once a year, every year. They keep coming back to join us. So if you're interested in this program, the contact information is on the sheet. So lewisborogardenclub.org is our website. As I said, no experience is needed. The Lewisboro Garden Club program, Golden Roads, started off pretty small, but it caught the attention of a lot of people around the country. And it's been featured as feature articles in the 3 major horticultural magazines. The Garden Club, the Lewisboro Library has them. So if you'd like to read about it, they have them there. We've also worked with garden clubs around the country to give them our methodology and our experience. And so the Golden Roads program's called different names. It's in Connecticut, it's in Ohio, it's in Illinois, it's all around the country. And we're very happy to see this. If you have any questions at all at the end of this, I'll be available. Just ask. If you do sign up, you'll start receiving emails in August as a reminder, and there'll be many more details in there. Thanks a lot for your attention.
George, did you want to talk about the trail volunteers?
Oh, yes. Here we go. Different hat. I'm George Scott. I'm representing the town of Lewisboro, the Open Space and Preserves Advisory Committee. And basically what we do is we set the policies and procedures for the town's 6 owned preserves. And we work closely with the town board on any significant changes that we want to do and so forth. The 6 preserves that we take care of are Brownell and Falcon Ridge in Golden's Ridge, Fox Valley Park also in Golden's Ridge, the Old Field Preserve in Wacabuck, Lewisboro Town Park has a number of nice trails. The nice thing about it is they go up into Ward Pound Ridge Reservation. So you have all of those trails you can hike as well. We also have Onatru Park. There's 2 trail systems on either side of the road. And then Leon Levy Preserve, which is the town's premier preserve. We have 6¼ miles of trails there. since 2013. We have built out, we've gone from 2.6 miles of trails to over 6.25 miles of trails. So we do a lot of trail building there. Last year, the volunteers put in over 2,500 hours. For those of you who live on dirt roads like I do, you know that dirt roads require a lot of maintenance. Well, trails are the same way. There's a lot of maintenance involved in those, erosion control, water control, keeping water off the trail and so forth. And this is what we do. There's no experience needed. We will train the people. Our group that's been around for a while, our trainers have over 80 years of trail experience. I have myself over 20 years of trail experience. We're happy to answer any questions you have near the end. But before I get into that, the 3 opportunities that we have, some of them are very simple. If you're a hiker and you're hiking any of the preserves that I mentioned, and you see anything that concerns you, trees on the trail, water on the trail, too much mud, which is, you're going to see a lot of that this year. There's not a lot we can do about it during the muddy season, but we do try by building more stepping stones and so forth. Please let Parks and Rec know. And again, the contact information is on the spreadsheet that was there. So that's very easy. Just report what's going on. And we call those people trail monitors. The other position, the other 2 positions we have, the first one is trail steward. And they hike a specific preserve. Usually the people like to do one near their home. And what they do is just hike around. They look to see if there's any new growth. They usually carry loppers and maybe a handsaw with them. They'll just cut back branches and things like that. If there's any small, what we call blowdowns on the trail, little branches and everything, just pick them up and throw them off. Litter, we're very fortunate in Lewisboro that the people, the hikers are very good. We don't see much in the way of litter, but every once in a while we'll see a bolus of litter where maybe we get a group that comes through that's careless. So we carry litter bags with us. We take the litter and dispose of it off trail. We also, some of you know about the trail blazes or markers that you can see directs you on the trail. We make sure they're clear by cutting branches and limbs and things like that. A trail steward also report any trail damage, erosion, and so forth to Parks and Rec, and they in turn will let us know, who's ever responsible for each preserve, and we'll get the volunteers out there to correct it. The last position we have is my favorite, is the trail crew. And we get to use all the fun tools, the chainsaws, the brush cutters, the other types of tools like that. And what we do is we're responsible for all the preserves. Our teams will go to any preserve that needs a major trail work. And we do a repair and maintenance. We build new trails. We'll reroute them. Sometimes a trail gets, from heavy use, it gets eroded and so forth. And we'll reroute around there in a safe and environmentally responsible way. We remove large down trees. We have a couple of chainsaw crews that are responsible for that. We do trail construction. We just finished a 20-foot bridge across a stream in Leon Levy this year. That was a significant undertaking. We do water bars. We build stairs. We do bog bridges. We build kiosks, trail expansion, erosion control. We also take care of invasives that may be along the trails. We can't take care of all the invasives in our preserves, unfortunately, but we do try to keep, when we have time, we try to keep the invasives away from the trail edges. Leon Levy, where I'm the head preserve steward, we meet every Tuesday morning year round. Weather permitting, of course. If it gets really cold or it's rainy, we don't obviously do it. If any of you would like to learn more about trails, on National Trails Day, June 4th at 10 a.m. at Leon Levy Preserve, we're going to be offering offering 2 hikes for experienced and inexperienced trail people, show you what trail blazes are, how to read trail blazes, how to read trail junction numbers so you can find yourself on the trail, how to use applications, trail applications on your phone so you can follow yourself around the trail and you don't get lost. So if you're interested in that, please join us then. And again, if you are interested in joining our team in any of these three capacities, please contact Parks and Rec, and we will get back to you with training and so forth. Thanks again for your attention, folks.
Thank you, George. Next up is Jonathan Monty of the Golden Bridge Hamlet organization.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Appreciate this. Just to give everyone a little bit of background, Golden Bridge Hamlet organization, or otherwise known as GBHO, we're a civic not-for-profit that has been around for about 6 years now, and we engage in community improvements. Just to give everyone a little bit of background of what we've done, we've engaged in community beautification projects, both on our own as well as with help from the Garden Club. We've built a pedestrian trail that's connected 2 roads that's helped the movement of pedestrians from one part of Golden Bridge to another. We installed the community bulletin board recently, as well as a little free library to again build a sense of community near the shopping center. We were able to secure a grant to mark out the historic L158 bridge. And one of our most recent activities was we hosted a Meet the Candidates event back in October, which was televised on Lewisboro television. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we've done. What we're looking for right now is twofold with volunteers. This spring, summer, and into fall, and probably well into next year as well, you may have seen that the GBHO has been allowed to build a pocket park on town-owned property at the corner of Fairmount and Route 138. So we are looking for volunteers to help with this endeavor. Our first day of work officially will be on April 23rd. That's the Saturday of Earth Day from 9 to 3. We'll post that on our website as well as on our Facebook page. This pocket park, while it's small and only about 1.5 acres in total size, is a remediation of the site. We'll be cleaning up garbage. We'll also be cutting down weeds and pulling out invasives around the pond. So not only will it be a piece of infrastructure for residents to enjoy a bit of nature, it will also be a remediation of the invasives that have come in and around the pond, specifically Phragmites, duckweed, and I believe it's called water meal. So we are looking for volunteers who will be able to engage in typical backyard type activities of cutting down branches, moving earth, and so on. But we also need volunteers that have some expertise. So if someone has landscape expertise or masonry expertise, we're also looking for people who have knowledge of water management, specifically with those invasives that were previously mentioned. Any carpenters, both professional as well as do-it-yourself carpenters, because we're looking to build bee houses, bat houses, and bird houses. If you've been around that pond, it is a natural sink for birds. There are several heron that live there, and there are mallards that enjoy the pond as well. And we're looking to make that a site where more birds can come to. And we're actually starting work with the Bedford Audubon Preserve as well. So we're looking for those volunteers this coming spring, summer, and into fall to engage in that type of work, that outdoor work. But we're also looking for long-term volunteers. We now need more trustees to fill those ranks because we're doing so much more. So we need people that would maybe fill a secretarial role or web experts. We're also looking for people that could end up writing grants for us as well. So that's really a thumbnail of what our needs are. So what I will do is I will put down in the chat, I will put our website, goldensbridgehamlet.org, and that will bring you to a list of what we need, what our volunteer needs are. And you can also find us on Facebook as well. I will put my cell phone in there as well. Again, like I said, my name is Jonathan Monty. I'm the current chair of the organization. So it's going to be a great endeavor that's going to serve the people of the community. And it's also, like I said, a remediation project of a water feature that has long been neglected. Again, thank you all.
Thank you, Jonathan. And keeping with our outdoor theme, next up is Shantala from the Lewisboro Land Trust.
Hello, everyone, and thanks again to the Lewisboro Library for hosting this event. It's a great opportunity to learn what's happening around town and tell you more about us. I'm going to have some slides to share with you that'll give you a better idea of what we do. Let me just share my screen. There we go. Okay. Liz, can you see that?
Yes, we can
Great.
see it.
Okay. Again, my name is Shantala, and I'm the executive director part-time of the Lewisboro Land Trust. I'm also a local mom. And here's all of our contact information that you'll see throughout the presentation. But just a little bit about us. I'm sorry. We've been around for over 25 years. We've worked with several organizations around town and the county to permanently preserve land and protect it in Lewisboro. Our primary goal now is to link people with the land, and so that they're aware of our open spaces. And to do that, we provide programs that for people to enjoy recreation, socialize, and educational opportunities about our local flora and fauna. We also have a wonderful initiative called Access Nature that I'll talk more about. Here's a little bit more about us. We firmly believe that in caring for the land, we also care for the people. And as a hyper-local organization, we aim to bring the many preserves, the 6 that George spoke about earlier that are owned by the town. We have 2 really impressive county parks. We have other Westchester Land Trust properties, and we also now own 4 of these local preserves that are listed here. I don't know if you can see my thing, but over in Goldens Bridge area, we have the Indian Brook assemblage. And then not on this map, but it'll be on the new map that we're putting out, is the 10 acres called Kylon Preserve in Old Goldens Bridge. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And we also manage 2 gardens at town-owned preserves that I'll show you. But pictures speak more than words. So we have lots of opportunities to volunteer in these various areas. So a little bit more about each of these. Most of what we do is the outdoor programming, and we do a lot of that these days, especially since the pandemic. People want to get outside. So we have really tried to increase the number of programs that we offer, and volunteers are who make that happen. We offer monthly preschool hikes, exploring the different preserves, exploring different themes through the lens of nature and about nature. We have really fun annual events, such as the Blessing of the Animals that'll come up in the spring. And then on this coming March 12th is our annual fireside sing-along at Mountain Lakes Park, which is always just a huge hit. We also last year started monthly toddler hikes that gets our littlest friends outside, and a great opportunity for moms to meet each other and socialize and learn about the different resources in town. We really want to build their confidence to get outside on their own and introduce more friends to all of our local preserves. We host regular guided hikes, again, for people who want to go to the preserves but aren't confident. So we need volunteers who can help along these hikes. And then we have educational hikes where you can learn about everything that's out there in the preserves. Again, volunteers help us make that happen too. We also just this year started a new series of seasonal hikes, poetry hikes, that it was a volunteer who approached us and had this idea. So if you have ideas for ways to connect people with nature, then we want to hear from you, and we'll help make it happen. We also are really proud of this Access Nature initiative, which is an initiative that started several years ago to help disabled and disenfranchised peoples to connect with nature. We provide them transportation and naturalists, education, and we try to help them build, again, the confidence to get outside and enjoy the benefits that everyone should have access to. And with the number of preserves we have, we want everyone to be able to get out there and enjoy it. Here you see a few pictures, but again, we need volunteers who can help us to host these programs and help the participants along the trails. We also do community events and outreach, which is always a lot of fun. We have an annual environmental lecture. We participate in other various local activities where we can meet with the community and educate them about our open spaces and the nature around us. So volunteers make this happen. But if you don't want to be a front-facing volunteer, you can also help us on the trails, which is a great way to get out and, as you can see, use a weed whacker, use some tools. We have currently 4 preserves that we maintain. One is Mount Holly Preserve, which you can see our steward here, Paul Kalura. He organizes teams of volunteers to get out for trail maintenance. We also have Terry and Tony Rena, who maintain the Marion Yarrow and Mildred E. Grierson, just off of Todd Road, which we have a lot of invasives too that we're going to start working on there. We need a lot of volunteers to help with that. And then here's a little bit about the recently acquired Kylon Preserve in Old Goldens Bridge. We have a wonderful steward there. We've had to clean out a lot of debris from this preserve that's accumulated there over the years. And there's going to be a lot of work in the years to come to make this a wonderful resource for the community there and beyond. We also do community volunteer days at our 2 gardens. This is the native plant garden at Leon Levy Preserve that every year we refresh and maintain. And then we also have at Oldfield Preserve in Walkabuck, the meditation garden, which is a great resource and easy to access for people with limited mobility. But we just had 2 volunteer days earlier this year, culling these ferns and adding more mulch. So it's something that always needs attention, and volunteers make that happen. Whatever you want to do as a volunteer, we would welcome you. I would promise you'll have a lot of fun. It's a great way to get outside. It's a healthy activity, and we look forward to hearing from you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us at the email here. You can learn a lot more on our website. There's way more than I could cover during this time. And happy to answer any questions at the end. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Shantala. Wait for you to stop sharing. Great. Okay. Next up, I'd like to introduce Zingy with the Lewisboro Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
Thank you so much. So I'm here, and my name is Zingy Mkefa, and I am the Vice President of the Board of Lewisboro Volunteer Ambulance Corps. And going forward, I'm just going to call it LVAC, and I invite you to do the same. So I'm here to tell you about how we in this community of Lewisboro go about caring for each other. So let's imagine a scenario where this is something that could easily happen to any of you today. It happened to my neighbor 2 weeks ago. You slip and fall on black ice in your driveway and possibly break a leg. So you call 911. And when you call 911, you trigger a beautiful system of care that mobilizes all the resources available in this community for one reason only: to care for you and help you. Volunteers show up when they hear this. And when you hear that, you will also hear a voice from 911 dispatcher telling us that John blah, 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 age 45 years old, slip and fall on ice. They need help now. And in that moment, Lewisboro volunteers from all walks of life, whether they're watching TV, having dinner with their friends, they drop everything from their homes They put on their gear, they go to headquarters where the ambulance is, they jump on the ambulance and they show up in your home to help you. We treat you on site, we treat you in our ambulance, and we safely transport you where we deliver you to the emergency room. And when we're there, we are your advocate in that setting. We tell the nurses and the doctors what happened to you. We tell the nurses and doctors what medications you're allergic to. We tell your doctors your entire medical history, and we give them useful information on how to continue caring for you. What makes all of this possible? Volunteers, people like me, people like you, from all walks of life, postmen, students, nurses, lawyers, architects. We have a lot of finance guys, actually. Yes, so it's volunteers, regular people like you showing up when one of us needs help. And the other way that you can help, maybe you can't volunteer, but you can donate funds. A little known fact about EMS agencies like ours is that unlike fire departments, which are paid for by your property tax dollars, medical services are not. We rely solely on your generous donations to keep a very expensive operation running. It's not cheap to maintain an ambulance. It's not cheap maintaining all of those medical supplies that need to be thrown away once they're used once. So yeah, that's where your donations go. So what are the requirements for volunteering? Well, we have an adult member program and we have a junior member program. As an adult member, you have to be at least 18 years old. You have to live or work in Lewisboro because we require you to be able to respond very quickly to the ambulance. You have to live within a certain distance so you can drive to the ambulance in an emergency. You must also have some physical ability to lift people. And you must be able to attend our membership meetings and drills on Tuesdays. And we ask people to be able to volunteer a minimum of 12 volunteer hours a week, but you can choose how you distribute those 12 hours across your week. So for me, it makes sense for me and in my lifestyle to volunteer a full 12 hours to LVAC on Sunday nights from 6 p.m. to Sunday morning at 6 a.m. And at any time during that, I don't have to go anywhere. I just need to be around the house and in town running my errands and have my radio on me so that when a call comes through, I will be able to activate myself and go to the ambulance. The junior members you have to be at least 16 years old. So basically you could be a high school senior or junior. We partner quite a bit with with John Jay High School, but not exclusively. You also have to live in Lewisboro and be able to do shifts from headquarters. So the difference between being an adult member and a junior member is that adult members can respond from the comfort of their home, whereas juniors, we don't want them driving around to the ambulance. So we ask that their parents drop them off at headquarters when they are on their shift, and they will stay there and respond from there. You must have physical ability to lift patients as well and be able to attend membership meetings and drills on Tuesday. So that's the junior members. So what about training? Like you may be wondering, well, I don't have the skills to do anything. So the way that it works is that there are 3 categories of skills we need. So the first tier is everyone who volunteers starts off as what is a first aider. And basically that means you ride along in the ambulance and you provide whatever assistance that you are asked to provide. Maybe help me lift this patient or move this to here, take this there. While the other people, the EMTs, the drivers, the paramedics are caring for the patient, we need someone to pass us things very quickly. And so the skills needed for that, we train you in basic CPR and overall personal safety, by which I mean how to protect yourself when you're encountering somebody who is bleeding profusely. Wear gloves, mask, all of those things. Step 2, Then you can graduate if you want. A lot of people can just stay as first aiders, but a lot of people feel like, no, I want to do more. So then you could be a driver of the ambulance, and that also has a rigorous driver training program that's provided. And as a driver, you're always sort of working with the radio, talking to 911, and so we'll train you in that. You could also do what I did, which was I wanted to become an EMT because I had been a first aider for a while, and I felt like in the heat of an emergency call, I want to be able to do more. So I studied to become an EMT, which is a program that LVAC pays for. It doesn't take very long, and now I'm a certified EMT for Lewisboro VAC. But what's in it for you? Well, it's the satisfaction of knowing you're playing an important role in safeguarding our community, our children, the elderly, our families, friends. You're protecting your own family. It's actually the reason why I volunteered. I wanted to learn the skills to protect my spouse, to protect my kids, so that if in an emergency, I will know what to do. So then I joined LVAC, and I was amazed that in learning the skills, I could help not just my family, but everyone else. And then it hit me. This is how we care for each other here. You can become a member of the LVAC family. You'll meet new friends. You'll have a whole new network of people that you don't cross paths with very often. And there are other benefits as well. You get a discount on your property tax. You get free parking toward Pound Ridge, free access to the town pool, and more. But really, this town does a phenomenal job at thanking our volunteers who occupy this hallowed sort of title as first responders of Lewisboro's finest. So where do you sign up? Well, just go to our website, lewisborovac.org, and click on volunteer, and all the information, the application will be there. If you have any questions, you can also just email me, zingy.m@gmail.com. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Next up, we welcome Bob Fishman from the Town of Lewisboro Sustainability Committee.
Thank you very much, Liz. I appreciate the opportunity to help present what we're doing at the Sustainability Committee for the town, and to talk about some of the opportunities where people can also participate in some of the important work that the committee is working on, and on behalf of the town. First thing to know is that the town board actually created the Sustainability Committee back in 2010 to help the town in areas such as energy conservation, in adopting renewable energy, in providing alternatives to conventional automobile transportation, green building technology, waste management, materials management, creating opportunities for local food, and also, of course, related to all of this is green jobs. So the Sustainability Committee serves several roles. We are an advisory committee to the town board on issues pertaining to sustainability with respect to policy and programs that the town itself runs. But we have a broader role, and that is that it allows us to identify and suggest energy and other abilities of benefit to the town at large, and to our community. And so our role here is providing leadership to the community through a lot of volunteer efforts. So what actually is sustainability? Well, it's contrary to what we might have thought about in the energy crisis of the 1970s. It's not about doing without. It's rather about the idea of doing with, and yet recognizing that in truth, we're really borrowing from our children, our grandchildren, and theirs. As the Iroquois law said, it's our responsibility to take into account 7 generations yet to come, because in effect, we are really borrowing our earth from our descendants who will follow behind us. So what have we done to date? In the dozen years that we've been working on behalf of our community? Well, a number of really solid initiatives have come forward. We have worked to convert all of the streetlights in the community all across town to LEDs by working with the utility company. We had volunteers who literally created GIS maps of every streetlight in town, and went out and marked them down on a map, and we identified all the work that had to be done, and then brought that back to the utility company and had them go forward with upgrading those. A couple of years back, the community may remember that we enacted a local law with a reusable bag initiative. So in that opportunity, we helped actually craft that initiative, and with volunteers rolled that initiative forward, helping educate the community on what this involved, and reaching out to local merchants to have them on board and to understand what their obligations were with that. So that was a very successful opportunity. We have run a solarized program along with our neighbors in Pound Ridge. And in that initiative, we had over 50 households sign up to get solar installed on their own homes. That took a lot of volunteer efforts and participation to be able to get the word out to the community about this unique opportunity. Similarly, we've run a Heat Smart campaign where we've talked to community members about the benefits of getting off of fossil fuels. We're in a community where a great many people heat their homes with oil, and of course that has a big impact on our carbon footprint in the community. And so we want people to know what alternatives there are. There are, things like cold climate air source heat pumps and geothermal, or what are called ground source heat pumps, and how that can work, and what the fantastic resources are out there with respect to rebates that the state provides from through our utility company, to tax credits and things that, and financing that help everything get paid for. So that, a lot of that is about education in the community, and so we need people to help with that. We operate the recycling center in town, and that's something that we're working on expanding access to. We hope to expand both hours and the types of things that we're able to recycle in the community. And that leads me to one of our newest programs that we're going to be launching this spring, and that is a food scrap recycling program, which will allow homeowners in residents in our community to compost and bring their food scraps to a collection point in town, and that will then be picked up and brought to a compost facility. This program is going to involve distributing kits to individual residents that they can use to collect their food scraps and then bring those to this central distribution point, or collection point, I should say. We are also working right now with a grant that, and I'll talk a little bit about how we got these grants, but we're working on a grant right now to make coupons available for our residents to exchange their polluting gas-powered lawn care equipment, leaf blowers, mowers, etc., and turn those into local merchants and get a discount on the purchase of battery-powered electric lawn care equipment. This is an opportunity for our community to do things that will make it a more livable and healthy and sustainable community. We're working on a few other programs that I'll mention, and these are all tied in with a couple of things that the community has initiated. We are a climate smart community and a clean energy community, and there are things that we can accomplish as a community by running campaigns, things like letting people know that there are community solar opportunities for people to participate in, and the like. And by doing more and more of these actions, we're actually getting grant funds from New York State to run programs like that coupon that we're able to use to help people exchange their lawn care equipment. So, okay, so we are looking for volunteers to help in lots of areas. If you have an interest in overall sustainability, obviously, so many of the things that people have talked about here, sort of cross-pollinate with what we are doing, and so. I will just say that there are many, many opportunities to make our community a more sustainable community, and feel free to reach out, and we'll find things that match your interests to help our community become a climate smart, clean energy, and sustainable community.
Okay, thank you, Rob. So new to the fair this year, for those who love music, we have Harold Rosenbaum, who represents several musical organizations that have unique volunteer opportunities.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be in the presence of so many caring and wonderful people. So I've been living in South Salem since the late 80s. I started my choral organization in 1973. So next year we have our 50th anniversary, and we have, according to the IRS, I mean, we are based in South Salem. This is the address of the organization. It's called Canticorum Virtuosi, but don't worry about that. Let's say it's AKA the New York Virtuoso Singers, which is an all-professional group now in its 34th season. And the Canticum Novum Singers now in its 49th season, which is a very good volunteer group. Let me tell you very quickly about myself. I'm the organist and choir director at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Katonah. And actually my Canticum Novum Singers is giving 2 concerts there, previewing their concerts before going into New York City to do them. My wife is the co-chair of the board. I'm the president of the organization. We've been funded by the New York State Council since 1973, every year. We had a youth choir for 19 years, and we gave that up about 2 years ago because we felt that a lot of the kids had, other activities that demanded their time, and we weren't getting the response that we had gotten all those other years. But the children performed with my choirs regularly in Carnegie Hall, the United Nations, Radio City. We were on the David Letterman show once. That's on YouTube. It's a major organization. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of great choirs in the country. There are 40 million choral singers in this country, but ours is actually unique in many ways. Let me just say also, I retired 3 years ago from teaching in 4 universities: Juilliard, Queens College, Adelphi, and the University at Buffalo. But I'm as busy as ever making CDs. We've made 49 commercial CDs. I know they're a little antiquated now, but we're still doing it. They have reasons for being in existence. We have commissioned 121 composers with grant money, including many teenagers. We have no full-time staff and have never had any full-time staff. It's really on me. You know, I spend all my free time not just seeing my grandkids, but helping my wife plant, but running this organization. And I have had volunteers. I have one intern now. She's a high school student. She lives about an hour north of here, and she helps me. But I need other interns, and I can give you some of the things I need help on constantly, both from teenagers and adults. For example, it's important, as you know, for teenagers who are going to go to college to have on their resume that they volunteered for a not-for-profit organization, which we are. And I write letters of recommendation for them. In fact, the intern I have now, who's a junior in high school, just made the National Honors Award Society, or whatever it's called. And I wrote her a very lengthy letter of recommendation because she was so good. You don't have to be a Lewisboro resident to be an intern for my organization because, you know, it can be done from home. I'm looking at my notes. I have so many notes, but I know I have only a few minutes. But when I say my organization is unique, we're the only choir, my professional choir is the only choir ever to be invited to the Tanglewood Festival's Contemporary Music Week, and we were invited twice. We're considered this country's leading professional choir specializing in very complex contemporary music. So, and the volunteer chorus is a feeder system because over the last, you know, over the decades, over 100 of them have have become professional singers. So what are some of the needs that we have? I'll just read them off, and again, they can, not again, but I'll just say that anybody can just volunteer an hour a week or an hour a month or whatever. You know, there are always jobs to do from afar. We have a grant writer. We have obviously we have a webmaster and a publicist and a bookkeeper, but still maintaining websites or helping to see what what needs to be updated, research potential new grants, marketing assistance, helping my publicist in various ways. They can actually help with the gala. We have an annual gala, and they can help my wife who runs it to prepare for it. Research program notes, make flyers for concerts even. When the COVID ends or it gets much less pervasive, to come to my office here. I live on Cove and Oskaleta. You probably all know where that is. And I have my office here. I have tens of thousands of pieces of music, which takes up half the house. And I need them to be filed. I need research for program notes, helping me with computer skills, to actually help at concerts if they want to come, to help at the door. Yeah, that's about it. I can, in turn, besides getting experience, and you don't have to be a musician. That's the interesting thing to do this. But, I've helped my intern. I've coached her. She plays piano and flute, and I've coached her and prepared her for NYSSMA. So I'm happy to do things like that. And I guess that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harold. Next up is Town Board Member Mary Shaw, who's going to talk about the Lewisboro Emergency Management Committee.
I'd like to thank the library for hosting this volunteer fair and all the people who volunteer in the community. I'm a proud member of the community since 2003. And I'm here to speak about the Town of Lewisboro Emergency Management Committee. Now we have the committee itself fully staffed, and we're grateful for the people who are helping with that. And they're busy creating the framework within which our community can reduce vulnerability to hazards and cope with disasters. And we seek to promote a safer, less vulnerable community with the capacity to cope with these potential hazards and disasters. And one thing that we can all do is to sign up for New York alerts to stay informed. And you can find that on lewisborogov.com. If you go to the committee link, the Emergency Management Committee has the hyperlink for that. But one of the things that the chairman of the committee, Adam Oakes, and I hope to do is to create a community emergency response team. And that team would need volunteers to do a variety of things like making phone calls or staffing a site where we have emergency heating or emergency cooling. The first community site we have for that is the library, but we don't want to burden the library staff with making sure that it's staffed if we have a prolonged heating or cooling period necessary. So we would need members of the community to do that. So if you could email us at lewisboroOEM@gmail.com. That's Lewisboro OEM as in management @gmail.com. If you'd like more information or want to volunteer, please shoot an email. That email is also on the committee page for the Emergency Management Committee. And also just to give a shout out, we also have open spots on the various committees in town. And if you go to resources on the website, you will see there's a listing that says committees and council openings. And this is for adults living in the town of Lewisboro. I'm not going to list the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 committees or councils that have open positions, but it's a great way of making a difference for Lewisboro. I served 2 years on the Conservation Advisory Council and learned a lot and got to meet fellow members of the community. I know that this has gone on a long time, so I'll just say thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can also reach out to me personally, mshaw@lewisborogov.com.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, last but not least, I'd like to talk about opportunities volunteering at both the library and at the annual library fair. For teens, you can consider joining our teen advisory group, which is for middle schoolers and high schoolers. It meets monthly to plan programs for your peers. Our children's librarian is also looking for teens to help out in the makerspace corner of the children's room after school, helping children with crafts and technology. Adults can volunteer doing book shelving and working on special projects. Crafty adults can consider joining the Lewisboro Community Crafters, a new group we started that periodically makes small gifts to deliver to our local homebound older adults or to acknowledge our first responders. Our annual library fair is scheduled for Saturday, September 17th at Onatru Farm. So we will be needing lots of help, both teens and adults, to work on fair day, as well as to help collect donations of books and attic treasures on Saturdays in August. We would certainly love to hear from anyone that is interested in volunteering as a committee chair, especially for books, the children's zone, the vendor market, and food and beverage. I'd like to thank all of the groups who are on here today and thank all who are listening.